Howdy y'all, it's Heike here and welcome to another adventure! We are continuing in Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. We've done a little bit of running around in Labyrinthos because we were trying to get the materials needed to basically complete the engine up to peak efficiency. So technically the engine is made, but the Sharlayans believe it is not made well enough to do the amount of trips that are required to get all the people that they expect and all the knowledge they want off of Aetheris. So we have, really Alphino has gone ahead and informed all the different people all over the world to try to collect this specific allig adamantite stuff, highly refined. It's in shards of Dalamud, and in any places that there aren't big enough shards or no shards that fell, they're looking for primal relics, basically. What's used to summon primals, like how the mirror summons Tsukiyomi, and the other, like, 3 pieces summon Susanoo, those sorts of relics. Because they're also high in etheric density, and that can be used as for an additional burst to get the additional 6% that they need to get the engines up to par. While we're waiting on them, our little friends from the moon have come to help the people down on Aetheris to prepare for the mass exodus, or the Great Exodus, I think they're calling it. In doing so, Urianger is kind of like the mediator between the Laporites and the Sharlayans. Unfortunately, the moment that he dreaded has finally come, and her parents, Moonbreeda's parents, came because they are the leading scholars in teleportation magics. And it was a very tearjerker moment. I almost started crying. I got very teary-eyed and choked up. Urianger finally told them about it and how he felt, and he thought that they would hate him for just telling them in a letter. But they didn't hate them. They actually felt really sorry for him, and they missed him, and they were worried about him because they haven't really heard from him because he's been avoiding them since he told them of Moonbreeda's death. And they kind of see him like their own son, which was really, really sad. And they were like, the thing that we regret the most and we're most angry with you is that we weren't there to grieve with you when Moonbreeda died. And I was just like, woo! But now we're going to speak to Urianger, and hopefully we have some adamantite parts, because I want to just get this going. I feel like we've been doing a lot of running around, and I really just want to get it going. Oh, Taheka, be assured that I am fine. I am. Full glad to see them too, after so very long. Gladder still that it was in your company, as difficult as it was to accept their kindness. Could have been far harder had I faced them alone. Hither and yarn. Thou hast my gratitude for lending courage to the Laportes. Not disposed to rest on their laurels, several of our guests have elected to accompany my countrymen to their stations. Some few may still come hither seeking counsel, and so shall I remain to aid them as need be. If thou need elsewhere, do not let me detain. Thank you! As a matter of fact, I was hoping you might check on Alice. Last I saw, she was struggling to carry an enormous pile of boxes out the west gate. I could go myself. We know whose help she's less like to scorn. Not to mention, much to my misfortune, I can think of several other things I ought to be doing until later. Oh, Thancred, you just wanted out. That's okay. I will help you, Alice. To the west gate! Hi, Alice. Taheka, what are you doing out here? I'm here to help you carry these boxes. No, I don't mind if you help with boxes, but it's far from the most exciting of tasks. Are you sure? Yes. Well, I appreciate the assistance. We need to get these to Aporia. Time is short, of course, but they're full of organic specimens and samples, so try not to be too rough with them. Alphino should be waiting for us when we arrive. I'll see you there. Deliver the crates to Alphino. You'll have 3 minutes to complete the task. Should you fail, you must start getting a location. Okay, where's Alphino? Come on! Alexander, you could help me go a lot faster with this! They placed that there on purpose. Wide berth, wide berth. Wide berth. Good. Back on the road. They got this really intense music going on, but all I'm doing is just tiny menial tasks. That epic music is for all the other people and all the other countries that are doing their things to help get the parts. Once the science aren't the center of attention. I guess it's good to do that, though. It kind of like brings you down to earth a little bit more, you know, like we're not the center of attention. It doesn't matter like what, it doesn't always matter what we do. Like everyone else is doing important tasks too. It's not just the scions to do this. Alfie! Oh, you're helping with the crates. Wonderful. You can put that there with the others. Good. That's actually a lot easier. 3 minutes is gracious time. Could have done it in 2. You have my gratitude. But how did you come to be involved in this? I volunteered to help. Huh, then I suppose I have Thorncrit to thank as well. Ooh, yeah, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Picture! Yeah. If you're wondering why we're tasked with bringing these boxes to Emporia to begin with, so was I. It turns out this is a base of operations of sorts. Those with final say as to what is included in these ships' manifests can be found here. Father included, I suspect. That should be everything. You hear it all that at once? Are you trying to injure yourself? Oh, hush. They're lighter than they look, and not everyone has your delicate arms. I suppose we should let someone know that we're finished. Theopaldin is in the courtyard. We can report to him. Why don't you come along? You should get credit for your assistance at least, considering where we are. We might even learn something interesting. Let's go. Okay, let's go. Oh, now we're gonna have to do a whole bunch of stuff in here? Ah! I would very much just like to get the fuel and get going. This part's a little dry for me, I'm sorry. Leopoldin. Gods, it never ends, does it? What can I do for you? You brought the samples from Charlie and Hamlet. Series 110, the crates are by the entrance. Ah, thank you. I've expected one of my colleagues, but we were dreadfully short-handed. Just a moment. You're a force knowledge children, are you not? Alphno and Alice at your service. You're well acquainted with Father, I take it? Quite. I've been friends with your parents since our days at the studio. I remember when yay, hi, waddling hither and thither. Clearly it's been quite some time since we met. It is good to see you again, wielding your father's knowledge, no less. You know our parents when they were young? What were they like? Pray spare no detail. I should like nothing more than the regalia. Alas, I am meant to be in charge here, and reams of paperwork want for submission. We can help with that, in exchange for some sort of story our parents would never willingly divulge, of course. Very well. There has to be 3 sets of documents to new delivery. How about you take one? 1, 2. Right there. And I'll take the last one. You'll find a foreign representative waiting to collect these near the southernmost entrance structure. I hope I haven't kept you waiting too long. Never mind Alphno and Alice, I'm sure they'll be back soon enough. Okay, let's go. Near the southernmost entrance. That should be here, right? There's no one here. Ah! You're not near the southernmost entrance. Are you not one of the signs of the 7th dawn? I thought you were meant to be working on the aetherburner. With all Paulin's paperwork, I was beginning to worry he had misplaced his quill. I appreciate your help in these documents to my hand at last. As for your other task, pray keep this between us, but I sincerely hope the science succeed. The Exodus is, without a doubt, the most monumental undertaking in the history of the Forum, and so we must be circumspect in all respects. Risk is a privilege we cannot afford ourselves. At its heart, however, Charlian has ever been a nation of the curious. would be a tragedy indeed if we were the ones to stymie your pursuit. Sure. Documents delivered. Regale me with a tale. I beat the twins. Regale me! Quick and efficient. I dare say you have talent for this work. The twins' papers only need to be delivered to elsewhere in the facility, so they should be returning any moment. And then you'll tell us a funny story. Your return, not with a scrap of paperwork remaining on our persons, you will note. You both have my thanks. My apologies for sending you on an errand far beyond your ambitions. Why, even as a babe, you struggled out of your swaddling clothes, and... There's quite enough of that, thank you. It was prosing stories of our parents that we asked for you to reiterate. Of course. I've known your father for so long. I must have something. Well, as you know, part of why the Leveilleur name garners such respect in Charlian is your family's storied history. You too can trace your ancestry directly to those who came aboard Nofret's Hope, a lineage few can claim. I've never thought that much of it myself. It's not as though our forebears founded our nation, they were simply there when it happened. Nevertheless, it has traditionally been a point of pride. 'Twas why Nofret's pronouncement, renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason, has ever been the family's creed. Until your grandfather's time, Archon Louisoix looked not to Nofret's words, but his deeds. He asserted, in defiance of his peers, that choosing to save the great and the small from the rising tides was the true mark of our founder's virtue. Perhaps it was his expertise, his knowledge of ancient prophecy and the fall of civilization, that led him to conclude that the true conflict at every turn was to consign mankind to its doom. There will ever be conflict, and calamity will follow. Thus, to ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence. You remember his words well. Indeed, Archon Louisoix lived by that personal creed, and used every means at his disposal to bring succor to those in need, Charlian or no. No one loved and admired your grandfather more than his son. Yet Fortunato could not reconcile Louisoix's deed with the philosophy of the forebears and his peers, a philosophy in which he believed so fervently, yet made a pariah of his father. Fortunato antagonized over this contradiction for most of his life. Oh, God's father. A son may carry his father's blood, but his choices are his own to bear. It is not always thus. Gods know Fortunato's a cranky old goat, so I'm sure you butt heads often enough. Yet even so, you must know that you are consistently in his thoughts every moment of every day, and that is not an exaggeration in the slightest. You should have seen him when you were born. Barely recognizable he was, with a kind of dumbfounded grin I'd not seen since he first took to fancy to your mother. He was practically skipping when he told me the news. Okay. He was practically skipping when he told me the news, is when the twins were born. Take my word for it, he loves you to an embarrassing degree. Aww. He doesn't act like it. But he's also frustratingly single-minded. Once he's decided that a given action is for the best, he will stay the course no matter who or what opposes him. A profoundly annoying habit when you're on the other end of it, as I'm sure you will agree. Aww. He loves his kids. He's proud of his kids. It's just, again, the way they work. I'll say. Thank you for your insight. When next we meet our parents, I shall mention that we spoke. Try not to get me into too much trouble now. I need the forum on my side. Speaking of which, I ought to be getting back to work. I have to make sure those specimens you brought make it to their proper place, or the cranky old goat will have my hide. We can speak again later. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hail, you three. Hi, Graha. Graha, surely Kokol hasn't driven you out of the forge already. For better or for worse, no. However, he has sent me a task that requires more than a single pair of hands, and here you are. I could use at least one of you, but I won't object to more. Unfortunately, Alice and I have prior commitments. We have delayed too long as it is. What about you, Tehika? Can you spare the time? Of course I can. It's not like we have to save the world and everything. Perfect. This shouldn't take long. I'm just running errands constantly! In the event that our, and I quote, promised heap of adamantine falls right out of the bloody sky and into my lap, Master Kakol wishes to be ready to put the proverbial hammer to anvil at a moment's notice. To fabricate these parts, however, he needs the flames in Kakol's forge to burn hotter. He sent me to increase the amount of ether being flowed into the furnace. The flow of fire-expected ether in Labyrinthos is regulated by an elemental reactor Leveilleur, to which I have borrowed the key. The adjustments will require 2 people to carry out safely, but I can explain the process once we arrive. It's the part where you are then. We'll see you in Charlene's hamlet once the adamantite arrives, if not before. This way then. Okay, so we're gonna imbue our ether. No, we're gonna adjust the etheric controls. That's what we're gonna do. That's when patience gets you. The reactor is housed within this facility. I'll be the one to go inside and adjust the fire ether output. When I do, a rather large amount of water-expected ether will issue from the vent at the top. I expect this to attract at least a few elementals, which would both rather not be drawn to the reactor itself. Trust me. And I ask that you put down any drawn too near. It'll pose you a little trouble, I'm sure. Sure, so I gotta blow them up. I like blowing things up. Wait here, if you would. Okay. Where is the waiting point? Ah. Okay, come here, water-expected thingies. Yoink, yoink. Yoink, yoink. Yoink, yoink. Yoink, yoink. Oh, didn't have to use that. Ow. Yoink. 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 Oh, I can actually do a rotation properly. Boop. You done, Graha? Oh, now I gotta wait for Graha. At least we'll get one polyglot out of this. Hopefully. I think I had enough timer for one polyglot. Did everything go smoothly out here? Yep. I thought as much. No major complications to speak of inside either. And the water ether appears to be venting properly. I expect Kakol will have seen a difference in his forge flames by the time I return. Since I have you, there is another matter I thought to discuss with you. Nothing terribly important, merely something I've been considering. Parts of this I shared with everyone, yet you, and only you, have been to Elpis. If we have established, refined adamantine is a product of Alec, of the Empire's twilight years, in fact. It was a material which saw much use as part of the Alec's effort to extend beyond the bounds of this world, Dalamud, of course, being the most prominent. Of those who would push further, expand Alec's empire to encompass the heavens and the stars above, perhaps the greatest was the infamous technologist Amon. But Amon was Van Daniel. Amon wanted to travel to the Sea of Stars, or did he remember his life as Hermes? Did he remember his life as Hermes? I believe he had his own reasons. There is no evidence to suggest that he retained memories of a former life. He only joined the Ascians once the Empire was all but dust, as you know. If not his memory, though, what drove him to pursue the idea with such fervor? This may seem far-fetched, but what if souls, like mine, have a personality, so to speak, a natural disposition towards which they are inclined? We know with relative certainty that it was the gross decadence and inexorable decline of Alec that moved Amon to resurrect Emperor Zandi. The Empire's people spoke lightly of death and destruction, experimenting on those they deemed beneath them to fill emptiness in their hearts. In facilitating Zandi's return, Amon provided these languid souls with the means to free themselves from the mire of their own indolence. Or would have, had not Zandi been convinced by his own death that life itself was meaningless. Amon's desire for his countrymen to conquer the heavens could only be a means of the same end, to instill the people with new purpose. Like Hermes before him, Ammon was appalled by how those around him lived, but could never bring himself to believe that those lives were devoid of meaning. And both of them sought the meaning, that hope, in the distant stars. Such is my theory, anyway. Ultimately, it is the consequences of their actions which matter. Their motives are of no moment, and yet... To reach the stars on wings of adamantite, to travel to the ends of creation and beyond, promise of hope everlasting, that much I do understand. But enough musing for now. Why don't we see how Coca-Cola's getting on? So, what if he did remember? I mean, if he's a sundered soul, he is a sundered soul. He was a sundered soul. I too am a sundered soul. Well, then again, I don't remember anything of my days when I was an Asian and Moranti. It would have been cool if I met Azim when I went back to the past. If I met my original self. That would have been cool. Kakao Denko! Oh, yay! Kakao Denko, help me! Whew, I can feel those flames ablazing from here. Glad you found someone capable, Graha, but there's not much left for you lot to do. Unless you can conjure that friend adamantine any faster. I wish we could. An ether current! I think we finished the area! I do trust you to deliver on your promise. I do, only... I hate waiting with the adamantine! I want to know! We, share your impatience, I assure you. Is there truly nothing else we can assist with in the meantime? I wish! This sitting about's unbearable. Pity the forum frowns on recreational explosives. Well, so long as we can't prove it was premeditated. Get your gone, your mistakes to be made. In that case, I suppose I should go and return the key to the reactor. I'll have one more look to make sure nothing has gone wrong, unintentionally or otherwise. I'm certain there are better uses for your time, however. I will join you in the Charlian Hamlet anon. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna, whoop! I'm not running it. I am just ready to get these engines working. Wow, there's a lot of new points. We will do all of the ether points later. Give me some endgame content. I mean, there's plenty of endgame content. That's not a problem. If you wait here, your companions are bound to show up sooner or later. Waiting, waiting. Yes, sir, yes, we're waiting. And friends, up here! Friends.
All set, I take it?
Yes.
We finished what we could. Delivered supplies, tracked down escaped animals. Trivial tasks as they may be.
But they help.
That's enough, don't you think? If there was anything more important still undone, that would be a problem in itself.
The vessel is essentially ready for departure. All that remains is to load the final batch of supplies and see everyone on board. Once we've readied the aetherburner, that is.
Ah, had a feeling we might find you all here.
Our consultations with the Loperites, too, have run their course. Pleased I am to say that our researchers' concerns have for the most part been allayed, though some insist on making adjustments to the very end. For their part, Leveilleur and her peers have graciously offered to stay and keep the people company, lest any lingering queries go unanswered.
All that remains is to wait for the refined adamantite.
It should be here any minute now.
Alphino, are you there? It's me, Cryo. Your special delivery has arrived. Round up everyone and come to the harbour at once.
Yay, it's here, finally.
Speak of the devil. Let us go at once.
Let's see how much they were to procure. Hopefully it's a lot, and that's why they need all hands on deck. Hopefully it's not just bring everyone up just cuz.
Forgive the intrusion, Master Fortuner. I bring urgent news. A great commotion has broken out in Scholar's Harbour. Your presence is requested with all speed.
Is it because so many people came with such adamantite? I doubt
Now,
anyone's
where
transformed.
might this delivery be? Oh,
Oh my god. What? They brought way too much and there's more ships. Oh no. Oh, look at that. That's a
I'm
Morthard.
sure it's very important, but we cannot accept these without the proper permits.
Oh, shut up.
By the 12! Surely, these can't all be.
You needed adamantite. They got adamantite. His sky pirates.
Bleeding hellfire! They're bringing them by sea and by air. All these folks in these crates.
You needed it. We provided.
And more on the way. Got your adamantite right here. A bigger haul than any of these sorry bastards brought, and that's no lie.
Yes, because you were charged with seeing the shipments from Gridania and Uldar here, along with your own. Give credit where credit is due.
Sounds like the sorry whinging of a sore loser. And a hypocrite to boot. Ain't no way a scrawny whelp like you took a dozen steps inside a Dalamon shard.
I'll have you know I went all the way to the entrance. Furthermore, 'twas my contacts that enabled us to enlist the cooperation of the Sky Pirates.
Left you outside so you wouldn't get anyone killed, did they? Well then, credit where credit's due. You did a right fine job sitting on your ass.
I like Sakar. He's vulgar, but he's
Mate.
funny.
I will not stoop to your level.
My, what a grand welcome party.
Hancock and Saraban.
Hi
We
guys.
come bearing relics both sacred and Allagan, as well as a few other gifts that may be of help, to be presented with best wishes from the Eastern Alliance.
I wonder if that's his Ano sword.
I myself have come with a sacred relic of Rayson Temple. 'Twas
Aw.
passing fortunate that Senri's dango craving brought us to Kugane. We arrived precisely as Hancock was making his arrangements.
They wanted food. Yay.
Upon learning of your need, we made haste back to Hell's Lid with our dango, never fear, and consulted with the other auspices. All consented to the lending of Tenzin's legendary Phoenix Blade for this noble cause.
That's Tenzin's sword.
Suzaku and Seiryu were nevertheless worried that it might be lost in transit, however, and insisted upon accompanying me to Onakoru, where I had intended to entrust it to our Confederate allies.
That's
I
Tenzin's
thought
sword.
instead to give it over to Hancock when we chanced to cross paths yet again. But alas, Seiryu remained ill at ease and ordered me see the blade into your hands personally or die trying.
Of course Siri would do that. It's a very important blade to them.
We did, of course, need quite the impressive vessel to get it all here in time.
Yay! That's the troop from Ravenastor's vessel.
Fortunately, our majestic associates have been more than helpful. 'Tis an honor to join the Warrior of Light on another adventure, they tell me.
Aww. Well, thank you.
That is all wonderful to hear, but what of the extraordinary cost? I shudder to think of the ransom we must pay for such a bounty.
Fret not for your coin purse, young Alphino.
It's on the house?
Lord Lolorito looks ever towards the profits of the future, and thus the East Aldenard Trading Company went to some lengths to reduce the financial liability. And since the Scions funded the entire venture, not a gill need be rendered up in compensation.
Aw.
Everything is already yours.
Oh.
We funded the venture. When?
Ah.
Don't let the name fool you. This coin keeper knows a thing or two about spending.
Of course she does. I was wondering where she was. Hi, friend.
when it comes to capital investiture, a sprinkling of gil here and there will not do. You need enough savings to make waves when it really counts, which is why frugality is paramount.
Thank you, Tataru.
We also had the benefit of a generous patron. Generous being rather an understatement.
Who's the patron?
She has supported us from the shadows since
Mommy!
the very founding of the Scions. We even had coffers to fill.
Mommy Leveilleur!
Mother!
Yeah, you were wondering where your money was going?
I remain, of course, an entirely neutral party. I simply thought our family's coffers were needlessly full.
You didn't even notice the money was gone.
We can hardly take them with us on your teeny tiny toy boat, now can we? And would be a shame to leave all that hard-earned wealth unspent. Waste not.
I love her. Mama Leveilleur is the best.
However did you manage so much in so short a time, though? We expected word to reach only a fraction of our allies.
The shinobi, maybe?
Did I not tell you I have my ways?
Who's your friend? Ah, Erenville!
Erenville! You were involved too.
I received a letter from Cryle after we parted ways in Labyrinthos. She explained what the Scions were trying to accomplish, and why you might soon require the services of the Gleaners, spread across the world as we are.
He used the Gleaner Network to spread the word.
I pray you do not interpret this as a betrayal of Charlie. I accept that the Forum's aim in pushing us to our limits was to preserve what knowledge we have, and I bear you no ill will for it. Yet, in collecting that knowledge, what I came to appreciate most about our star is that there remains so much we do not know. That is why I chose to help the Scions, to combat the obliteration of those countless undiscovered wonders. I held no illusions that they would be less demanding taskmasters, though, rest assured, if I had, I would have been sorely disappointed.
So he had the Gleaners help, even though instead
To
of
make a
gathering
long
Charlie
story
Nine.
short, the whole of the guild ship cooperated to ensure your call was heard far and wide.
Hey, Alpha! Oh my god,
What's
I
this
can't.
about a ship that can fly to the moon?
Of course Sid wants in on that. There's Nero.
And why didn't you mention it sooner? The one time you don't beg my aid, your problem's a bloody ship that can fly to the moon.
Sure, I haven't seen Sid this whole time.
You brought the team.
Alpha with little Omega?
Of course. Garland Ironworks' finest. You need only point us towards my new favorite ship.
Oh my god, I needed that picture.
Oh, I nearly forgot. We stopped by Whirlit before coming here and picked up a package from Gaius. He's still of the mind that actions make for better penance than words, contrite or otherwise, so he offered none of the latter.
So Gaius isn't coming, but he brought something.
What he
Magitech?
sent is an Allegan relic Valens used in his weapons
Ooh.
experiments. Has a fair bit of refined adamantite in it too.
That's true, they had all that.
As you like us not suspect,
Aww.
we've also brought adamantite for Mordona's Dalamud shard. I admit to some consternation upon first receiving Kryle's message. So few Scions remain at the Rising Stones now, far too few for such an expedition. However, the Gleaners were able to secure us reinforcements. Idleshire's treasure hunters, not least among them.
Aww.
I know. How the Gobbyflock fought. Slowfix's gratitude for the safe return of his daughter has not waned, and he gathered his kin to our side with an astounding quickness.
I wonder if you don't do the Alexander side quest and you don't do the Alpha Omega side quest stuff, like, do you get these? Because that's from Alexander, isn't it?
The clash between their machina and the Allegan defences was a sight to behold. I wager even you would have been impressed by the magnitude of the gobby booms.
Gobby booms.
Fascinating as all this is, I fail to see how it explains your presence here. Does Razat
Oh,
not
yeah.
have more pressing concerns?
We do. Yet averting the final days would be the most expedient solution. That, and I am indebted to you.
Because we saved Razat the first time. Oh, this trap is bowing to us.
Though they chose to take their leave of Thavnair, those you saved in Galimund remain my people. My gratitude is beyond words. 'Tis appropriate that I aid you in kind. If in the doing we bring salvation to others of this star, so much the better. You will recall that I spoke of my father, Midgard Sommer, and his journey across the great expanse.
That is true.
As he traveled betwixt the stars, his resplendent scales drank of the ether in those nigh empty surrounds, and imparted to him the strength to persevere. Thinking they might further your cause, I called out to my kin for consent.
Do we have Midgard Stormer's scales?
Ajdaya's answer was silence, as ever. Tiamat and Hrisvelgre, however, responded favorably to the suggestion.
course
My
they did.
sire, too, stirred from his slumber long enough to speak and say, "Very well.
Midgard Stormer woke up just for a second.
Thus have I brought you his own worm scales.
Oh my goodness.
Fit them to your purpose, and seek a worthier fate for us all."
So we're gonna apply dragon scales to the outside of the hole.
You'd be hard-pressed to find someone else so familiar with the unique properties of dragon scales. So I invited myself along.
Thank you, Nadana. I love the amount of people we have.
Bugger me, this is so unbelievable. I've gone right back round to believing it again. Forget a 6% gain in efficiency. Of all these goodies, we could get 7, no, 10, no, 14 bleeding percent. Think of how far we could go. What we could do with that much power. What we could blow up.
I like his thinking. What we could blow up. Yes.
If Kokol is duly convinced, then it must be true. In which case, the science end of the bargain has been fulfilled. Would you not agree?
I would. Fortuno, agree. Agree. Are you finally proud of your son and your daughter? And you accept them?
Yes, Father?
Are they your children again?
I know not what you seek of Hydaelyn, nor for what purpose you would take command of our ship.
To save the
Yet this
world.
much is certain. To do so will be to dictate the fate of this star and the lives upon it. The lives of each and every creature, in their magnitude and their fragility. Do you understand? And are you prepared?
Yes, I will not fail.
We have seen and we have felt how much each life shapes this world. And so we are determined to abandon none. We understand what is at stake, and we are prepared to bear this burden.
Daddy Leveilleur. Do we get a hug?
Then I will bear it with you.
Got the picture.
I beg you, share your struggles with
He
me
accepts them as his kids again.
as family.
Yeah. Hug them! I guess the shoulder is the best I'm gonna get.
You grasped my fingers with such tiny hands the day you were born. I thought my heart might burst.
Aww.
'Twas love and happiness beyond expression. Overwhelming. And a conviction so powerful that I trembled with something close to rage. I had heard the final days foretold. I swore to myself then and there that I would not let them steal your futures.
And that's why he became consumed with his work, to protect his kids.
The great exodus would succeed. Must succeed. No sacrifice or sin was worse than the alternative. If anything gave me pause, 'twas mine own father.
Say to fight.
The Archon Louisoix openly decried Charlian's policies. A perspective which I regarded with increasing disdain as I grew older. Yet even as part of me thought him a fool. Perhaps I also hoped that he, of all people, would devise a brilliant means to save my children. A naive hope, but stubborn enough that I could never bring myself to keep you apart. No, that was his doing, when he perished at Carteneau, as we pulled that twisted slab of Dalamud from the sea. I remembered the warmth of your newborn touch. Chastened, I vowed never again to suffer any interference in my mission to protect you.
That's why he became so cold and calculating.
No matter that you yourselves wished otherwise. Detest me, fight me tooth and nail, I would suffer it, and more, and be satisfied so long as I could force you onto the ship.
He smiled!
I was wrong. You two have grown so much stronger and so much wiser than I dared dream.
Aww.
You
First
have
time I've seen him
earned the
smile.
right to walk your own path, and already begun to do so.
Good. Because there are things we care about, and people we love, and none of them is replaceable. Not a one.
It cannot have been an easy journey for you to have come so far.
It wasn't.
We shall be glad to acquaint you with the finer details someday, once this danger has passed. All that we have seen and heard, that we have felt and learned in our travels. Ours is not a kind world, but it is beautiful. Always.
One happy family.
Are you quite sure that's wise? After all, someone turns pale and flees the room when he sees so much as an envelope containing word of your adventures.
It's funny because he used to fight.
Whatever will happen if he learns what you were really up to?
Amelians.
Okay, they made me kind of like him again. He was a turd, but he was a turd to protect them. You're not on my bad list anymore.
Though I have wronged my children most gravely, I owe you an apology as well.
Yeah, you do.
I assumed that it was the Scion's influence that made them so keen to charge headlong into danger.
And I can assure you I was chasing them.
Yours, in particular. I see now that said influence instead brought them together with the many fine people gathered here today. In which case, I hope you continue to guide them.
I'll do my best.
If we've finished loitering about the harbour, might I suggest we put our plans into motion? People are beginning to look confused.
Perhaps you can spare a few words ere they resume the tedious lugging of cargo. You've no small number of friends and admirers here, after all.
Am I gonna make a speech? Am I gonna make a speech? Speech! Speech! Hi, Alpha! Words of encouragement. What do I say? Lend us your strength. Our moment of triumph is close at hand. With me! Oh! With me! We got this! Yeah! We got this, guys. I think we finally got to the end part.
Your assistance is appreciated. Now, in an orderly fashion, if you please.
In an orderly fashion. Of course, he has to bring it down to the situation, but okay. With me. We got this. Wow, that whole discussion took us to nighttime. Hi, Alfie. We finally managed to clear the harbor, which means... Can you not do that right behind me? We finally managed to clear the harbor, which means the rest of the engineers capable hands. Meanwhile, Father has issued us an invitation. As we agreed, he will reveal the means by which Hydaelyn may be contacted. We are to meet him at Emporia when we are ready. With the vile knowledge she holds, I suggest we leave without delay. It transpires, however, that the Foreman's methods for speaking to her is not without risk. I am curious to hear what those might entail, but regardless, be warned. Most of those who arrived with the Adamantite have offered to stay and see any remaining tasks I need doing. The Forum has already asked for my assistance in overseeing the process, so you needn't worry about a thing. Thank you, Tataru. Oh, thank you, Tataru! We're off to Emporia, then. I'm just gonna teleport to Emporia. Y'all can walk there, I will teleport there. But I will not teleport there now. Let me move away from this guy, because he is very loud with his mining or crafting. Hello, knowledge guy. So that was great. We got to see everyone come together. You know, literally everyone. So I'm wondering, like, I'm gonna have to watch some playthroughs or something to see about if people didn't finish Alexander or if they didn't finish the Omega series, because the whole thing about the Gabi Booms, and reuniting the daughter, that was, I believe, all in the Alexander raid, right? And then the Alpha being there, literally Alpha being there, is part of the Alpha Omega raid. Like, is he just not there if you didn't finish that? Because it wouldn't make sense then otherwise. And the whole thing about reuniting the daughter, are those lines just kind of like omitted? Just like, oh, you know, we had them help us and you should have seen the Gabi Booms, but like the whole part about reuniting, I thought, because she was the little pink one, right? That had the shard thing from Alexander. It's been so long since I ran that. But to see everyone, and the other thing, like, what if you don't do the Four Lords? Like, how do you know about Tenzin's blade? Like, do they just say, this is Tenzin's blade, and they still mention Siryu and everything? Or do they just kind of stop it at, look at all these artifacts we found in Othard? So I'm wondering, because if you don't do it, like, you don't know Soraban becomes one of them. You don't learn about Tenzin, or Siryu, or Suzaku, or any of them. So I wonder how that goes. I'd be very interested to find out. I want to see this playthrough of someone who didn't do all the extra stuff, to see if any lines were, like, omitted. I mean, it's cool that it's all there, because it kind of brings it all back together. Like, the Alex stuff, the Alpha stuff, the Four Lords stuff, it all just comes back. So that's really cool. That's going to be it for now, because I'm out of time again. That was really good. It seems like we're finally going to make headway into, like, more actual, like, beady-uppy stuff, like action-packed stuff, versus running a bunch of errands and getting emotional. I mean, I don't mind errand running, but I am almost level 90, trying to save the world, trying to save the universe at this rate. So I don't think running crates around is my top priority. I know they need to burn time, but a little slow. But we'll see. Until then, that's all for now. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye-bye!